Hello, my ladies and pretty gentlemen. Welcome right back to part 2 of the video that I was mentioning regarding divergence, mutations, and how you could be an enhancive cell, almost like a bridge to the right side of the brain where we can ascend, so to speak. How a lot of you considered neurodivergents are actually people who are quote unquote ascended masters, the help, so to speak, or as I mentioned in the first part, the enhancive cell that allows certain people to have mutations as we see in the actual physical reality. But this is on a larger scale, meaning you as a person being some type of cell in this brain that we exist in to almost jump timelines, so to speak, and to raise the frequency. And this is what it means, raising the frequency, going into a less dense matter, or being like Neo, being able to manipulate the matrix, and truly just enjoying the experience of being in the physical without being asleep or forgetting that we aren't really dualistic. We're not black or white or gray. We're the existence, the nothingness. So this is the part 2 here. This part right here. Yesterday, I got this download. Nothing is something. And I was asking myself, what if nothing is the so-called antimatter? And what if that is what they are trying to bring about, right? They meaning CERN and the activity that we saw yesterday on April 8th, or the day before yesterday, since this video staggered over 2 days, trying to create antimatter, which brought me to the topic of mentioning Stranger Things as well as the movie Us. And I mentioned these because when we think about what they are doing or what was happening, we think it's physical. We have to first see some type of weird occurrence from outside impacting us. But the download I got was reversal. What if it's internal, right? And it's connected to what they've mentioned over the past 4 years regarding the whole Great Reset. And I thought, what if the Great Reset is actually the Great Unmasking, or the mutants sort of rising or breaking past the chains? Almost being like the remnant, the remaining people after some kind of frequency obliterates us, and you as the enhanced cell, so to speak, the mutation of this brain, are the ARK, or the ship, as we mentioned in the first part regarding Noah's Ark and how that's an analogy for the first end times, right? And how the end times is just merely this evolution process where we are rising in frequency or being less and less dense, as you are the filtered version of humanity as it should be in the golden ages, which we're about to fucking hit. Does that make sense? So you being considered ill-fitted or not really measuring up to the structures of society is a symptom, or you are a symptom of the future, meaning you are the future. You aren't a problem that needs medication for ADHD. You aren't any of that. You are an enhanced, evolved version who is able to anchor down or be able to understand or operate or fully expand and express yourself in all these different areas, as we see the phenomena of autism, being able to have extraordinary artistic skills or knowing some extraordinary thing regarding science and creating cures. All of this, the help, this idea of being the help, the ascended one in this timeline, you are the divergent, or this is exactly why you're stalked. I'm just going to get to the point here. This video is going to be slightly shorter. This is exactly why you have been sort of magnified and vilified, belittled, in every meaning of the word. It's almost like this world wasn't really created to serve you. You're always from the outside looking in, having to mimic things, having to feel such a degree of being outcasted, where you're wondering if people are just pretending or are they actually enjoying their life. all of these occurrences that we've seen, these phenomena of people to the point where you can't really associate with other people, this is the symptoms of being somewhat of an enhanced or a, as we see in the spiritual community, calling it like indigo children, the rainbow children, all of this, right? We are the waves of evolution, of creation, and the so-called end times. You are the actual ARK, meaning you are the mutation that is immune to some kind of frequency weapon that they've talked about. And this right here, right, this whole frequency weapon, they told me, Spirit told me, it's the great reset, or the reset. And as I found the definition of the word reset, rest, a period of inactivity, and something about it being involuntary. It's almost an order, a decree. It's not a choice. It's a thing, right? It's a thing. Which brings me all the way back to nothing. What they're trying to do, create antimatter, right? Sort of swallow up this reality into a reality that is what? Nothing? Nothing is something. And I feel like this is where we see what they said, creating the conditions before the Big Bang. And the whole idea of the Big Bang having happened, and almost me thinking how it was described in the Ark, or the Noah, and how he built an Ark and got all these people to come into the Ark. It really connected for me, because if you see that as an analogy, right? The Ark becomes the people themselves, these chosen people, or as the Bible described it, the quote-unquote, a remnant will remain, right? Who are these remnants? Now, yours truly did some universal mathematics, and which is where the whole reset, the idea of it being a great reset, or the seventh day, the resting day of Spirit, came from the fact that yesterday, when they were doing all this ritual on this eclipse, firing up the Hadron Collider or whatever, creating antimatter, it was on the seventh day. If you add up the days, right, the fourth month, the 8th day, 2024, you get the final number 7. And I believe I did a different mathematics, and the number 5 came out for life number 5 and life number 9, life path number. Something about that is important. So just look at your chart if you believe in that stuff, which I feel like is very viable at this point. But it has a lot to do with being a mutant, or a quote-unquote chosen, a remnant, an immune one, immune to some type of frequency that's about to hit for some reason, that's going to create an inactivity in some people, where they're almost this whole zombie epidemic that we've been, talked about for a while, versus the quickening, or the version of the people that are going to reach like a singularity point, where they're about to unite mentally into godhood, into this whole unmasking, this rise or shift, being swallowed up into a new reality, or the golden age, where we have the Big Bang again, as the Big Bang has been described as like a whole, fiesta of intercourse, creating the whole new world. If this point makes sense, right? Me trying to say, what I'm trying to say, as I'm having a hard time talking these days, is the fact that what we see is not an external thing that's happening, but it's internal. And this is why a lot of dormancies, a lot of like it being difficult to do things, to even talk as I'm trying to right now, things are kind of being brought to a stop. And we can all say it's them doing it to us, or we are projecting it and allowing them to create that kind of reality. But at the end of the day, we are evolving, and we're not supposed to hold on to this reality or the next. We are about to hit the bridge, and you, my friend, especially if this video has arrived on your feed magically, you could be the ARK that I spoke about in this part 2 and part 1. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. And so this is the message, the download that I got. And I wanted to share this with you. Let me know your thoughts. And with that being said, I wish you a lovely rest of your day, time, wherever you might be. Take care of yourself, and until next time, bye.